All right, welcome. Hi. Hello, everybody. So today we're going to be talking day 25. Who can hardly believe it? Let me set this up a little better. Who could hardly believe day 25? And we are actually going to be talking today about how to hear your intuition, how to hear that voice, and equally important, how to differentiate it from the voice of the ego, which actually threatens to disturb us as opposed to love on us. So welcome. You are listening to Dr. Joan Hangarter, also known as Joan of Angels, for the messages that I channel, the art that I paint. I am an oracle, I'm an intuitive, I'm an empath, and I've been probably doing this work for so many lifetimes and centuries that it's really second nature. You probably already heard me before. So welcome. Believe it or not, this is day 25. Have you been enjoying this series? Because some of you have been on for almost 25 days. I'm just so excited to see you. So let's just start today by having a moment of gratitude. All right, so taking a deep breath in and letting it all out. Mother, Father, God, we are so grateful for the presence of each and every one of you, and for the presence of our guides and our angels and those beings who have come with us to help us live our best life and to remember who we are and to walk our path. And so as we talk about how do we know what that path is, we get down to what is that intuitive voice that we have. Good morning to my dear friends. It's so wonderful to see you, Ashley, and Suzanne and Patricia, and all of you, like just dear friends, Kat, Mariana. I have a special relationship with each and every one of you. So, but I'm thinking today about how do we actually access that voice, that and trust it, okay? So there's several components to this. We want to know, how do we access it? How do we trust it? So let's get first to the trust part of it, because I think it's the trust part. How do we trust our voice when at one moment we hear we're beloved, we have this great future, you are a leader, a clairvoyant, you should be doing this work, you should be healing, etc., etc., and in the very next moment, you hear another voice that goes, yeah, right. You think you're a healer, huh? Really now? Or you think you can do this? Like there's millions of people out there who are healers. What differentiates you? So have you guys ever heard that voice? So say yes if you've heard the voice of the ego. Now, in the beginning, sometimes they are so very hard to differentiate. And why is that? It's because our ego is the voice of our parents. It could be the voice of society telling us no. It could be the voice of our fear. Okay, so knowing that the ego is there, how do we differentiate with this intuitive voice? So the intuitive voice comes in soft, well, I was about to say it comes in softly, like the whisper of a wind. And I would say that's true half the time. Or, as often as it needs to be, you might hear it, and I'll tell you how I hear it. And the more I say yes to it, the more I hear it. I didn't hear it for a long time. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was my ego, okay? So I hear on my right side, my right ear. And go back to a few days ago where we started this series and I taught you how to do that audio ear flossing so you can clean up your hearing. But I hear it on this side, and I was going to say I hear it softly, like a whisper. So I could almost not hear it. And I find that I have to actually stop and repeat it, okay? So thank you. Oh, there's my dear friend Dan. Good morning, honey. Okay, so it's a whisper, but it's not always a whisper. Sometimes, so the first time I recall really hearing it was 1970 something. I don't know. I was in California. I had run away after I graduated college, and it was a very lonely night, and I heard my whole full name from birth given, Joan Beth Abramowitz, and I hadn't heard that in a long time. I heard it loud as day, like someone had shouted it in my head. Well, like my husband that I had left had shouted it in my head. I hadn't seen him for 9 months, talked to him or anything, and I hear this shouting. I think it's outside in the street, so I'm explaining it as like in my head, but I thought it was outside, so I go running out thinking he's down there, and he's not. Now, later, I found out that that very night, he had had a breakdown, and he was drunk as a skunk, I heard, and he was calling my full name, my birth name, over and over and over and over and over again, and I heard that in San Francisco, okay? He was in Boston, I was in San Francisco. But it was that shouting, okay? Shouting. So it may not always come. Now, it may also come, I'll never forget, it was 2006 or 5. I was about to put money down on a property in Florida in an investment with a dear friend of mine. And it was 4 of us, and my down payment was $50,000. And it was a brand new house that they, I don't know, it was like an $800,000 house. It was supposed to go up to $1 million. But I started to get a sickening feeling inside. I mean, a sickening feeling. And I was ignoring it. Every day I was ignoring it. But it was eroding my stomach. And then I started to have dreams of my mentor, Lalo. And Lalo had said something to me. I said, how will I ever know you're with me? And he says, when you're about to make wrong decisions, you will feel me. You will see me, you will feel me. This was before he had died. He was an Aztec native and very powerful medicine man. And so now I'm like in pain, and I'm dreaming of him. And I finally pulled out of the deal. But that was also the voice of my intuition. Okay, so I've just given you 3 examples of how you know it's your intuitive voice, right, guys? How do you hear it, by the way? I've said I hear it all 3 ways. I probably also miss it sometimes. So how do I make sure that I hear it? So sometimes, because we're going to be going through this for a couple of days, I think accessing our intuitive voice is so much a part of Mastermind secrets. How do we know what that mind master, the real mastermind, has in store for us? And what is that voice we're bringing in too? So lots of factors to this. Okay, now the voice of our ego. How do we know it's the voice of our ego? Well, our ego usually seeks to diminish us. Okay? Our ego usually seeks to step in and say, you really think you're going to go there? Who do you think you are? Or the ego goes, I'm too scared. I don't do things like that. I'm afraid of heights, etc. Maybe, okay, right? So what do we do when we think we're hearing that still small voice? Okay, and as Darren is saying here, we hear it, we watch for signs and confirmation, yes, okay, and that's important actually. That was the next sentence I was going to say before. Yes, we ask for confirmation. Show me. Give me a clear arrow signal. So, and you may hear it in many ways. It could be a song that's given to you and stuck in your head. It could be a penny or a dime on the ground and that you pick up and put in your shoe. Because for me, when I see pennies, especially 2 coins on the ground, I know that's direct from my dad, okay? Or it could be, like it happens all the time for me, Just when I really need an answer and I'm asking a question, I come to an intersection, and on the corner is a Miracle hearing aid store, okay? Miracle or Angel Maids, Angel. So words like that. One day I came upon, by the Grove, all of these miracle signs. I hope that they're still there. Okay, now, this is all really important. Did you know, by the way? All right, so my guides just said I need to give you this one tool, this direct tool today. Besides the ask for confirmation, all of this, I'm going to give you this one other tool. So Thomas Edison, okay, what's his name? Pac Bell. Oh God, it'll come to me, his first name, Bell. Write it down for me, guys. Albert Einstein. All of them downloaded talk in their memoirs, or when they talk about how did they discover new information. Tesla, they will report that they were either working on a project or working on an idea or an invention, and they'd go to bed and they would wake up in the middle of the night and suddenly grabbing a pen and paper, all of the formulas, the information would be coming through. It would be almost like, one of them said, it was almost like tuning in to a radio frequency. So imagine that it's a radio frequency. So listening to our intuitive voice is almost as if we can turn on the radio and set it to the right dial, and voila, it will download to us. What do you think of that? Because that's true. So let's do, and now, okay, so we're going to really practice this again. But now I've given you step 2, which is accessing the radio, okay? Step 1, going backwards, they said, okay, well, how are they going to access the radio? I hear this all the time. What I just heard is more like gentle voices. They're talking. They're like giving you this class. And I'm listening to it all the time now. I find it very fascinating. This is a very delicate voice. Okay, so yes, it's as simple as listening to the radio. It's as simple as asking. But what if there's a really good practice that we could do? All right, so close your eyes and take a deep breath in and send it down to the center of the earth. Good. And again, breathing it in and sending down to the center of the earth. Mother, Father, God, we ask right now for clarity, guidance, wisdom, and understanding. Okay, so just right now, I want you to imagine that not far from you, maybe a few feet away, is a radio. And it is an old-fashioned radio. And it has all sorts of dials on it, all right? So I want you to imagine that dial. Now that dial is the dial to turn up that radio frequency. Now between you and that radio is a curtain. Kind of like the Wizard of Oz. You know how the wizard was behind that curtain, that green curtain, and they had to pull it away to find him? Okay. There is a little curtain on a rod between you and that radio. And so the first thing I want you to do is literally with your right hand, and I want you to do it first physically, but I want you to anchor it into your imagination. I want you to move over, like open up. Okay, there's 2, not just 1. So open it up like this. See, my guides are getting clearer and clearer every single day. So they're showing me that we are opening up this curtain like this, like the Wizard of Oz is on the other side, and there is that radio. That is the radio to our communication with the other side and with our intuitive voice, for sure. So now there is a dial, a switch. On that switch, oh my God, this is amazing. On that switch, there is one station that's called Intuitive Voice. It is lit up bright in gold. Woo! Gold writing, Intuitive Voice. A gold and black, and it is flashing at you, okay? And so all we have to do is with our right hand, turn up that dial until you get to Intuitive Voice. And in this case, I'm seeing it that it is a vertical, and suddenly vertical, that intuitive voice, that channel. So right now, understanding that all your channels are open to receive, because there is literally a tube that's going from that radio station down through that antenna and through you, because we have been working for weeks on that antenna as well. So imagine that you are now a pure vessel for that divine message. And so, my beloved friends, what is your intuitive voice telling you? What is your intuitive voice bringing out to you? Now, I love all of you. I just have to say something. I am tickled pink that you are here with me, that you're commenting back, that you're sharing the information, and that you are getting value from here. I even see a few new people. Manju, very nice to meet you. I appreciate it. Dan is here. I don't often see Dan popping in. My dear friend Ashley has come, and Mariana from my Mexico life. I mean, gosh, guys, I have beautiful, wonderful feelings. There's Matina for all of you. And so collectively, Spirit says, this is our time to really receive information from the other side to guide us on what could be a precarious path here on the planet. Now, I talk about passion, mission, purpose over and over and over again, but how do we fire it up away? How do we hear that voice, and how do we know? So I will tell you this. It is your intuitive voice that will save the day. I'm going to leave you with a very dear story, and to also give you a little bit more how to reach me. Yes, so how to reach me? Guys, if you're liking what I'm laying down here and you want more, I'm going to be offering a class. I'll probably have it all ironed out by the end of the week. Send me an email at joanofangels.com. That's all one word. And include in it your full name, your date of birth, the right email for you, and like sign me up for, not sign me up, but I want to know about your class. Okay. So let me know that, because remember, the angels have always said we have to first ask. So I haven't designed the entire class. In fact, I'm really open to hear your suggestions. So there's no space between it. It would be J, and there's no capitals, JoanOvangels.com. So the email is joan@joanofangels.com. No caps and no spaces. So I love you all. And if you have any thoughts about what you'd like this class to cover, really share that out with me too, because I'm in the creation stage, and I'm actually going back now and reviewing all the comments and listening to all the teachings from the last few ones, okay? Now, I can see loved ones, but hard to hear them. We're going to continue to dive into that. Oh, Carrie, sweetheart, you are so beautiful. Carrie was on the other day, and she had given us some information about a bold and brave step she had taken, and I was guided to suggest she have a reading with me, and boy, did we have fun. We are lifetime soul friends. I think we've known each other forever, and you know, a lot of you are like that, and the best, most blessing is when I get to meet you personally. It is a hoot, okay? Not a hoot. It is such a spiritual treat, because what do we do in those sessions? We actually connect with your guides, and you get to hear the highest intuitive voices you ever can of what your voice is, why you're here, what your purpose is. The whole thing gets laid out, and we just go into, oh my God, amazed. I'm more amazed because all I know is I get guided to say yes, and then God knows what comes out. Okay, now. Okay. Whew. That was fast. Now, going back to the benefits of our intuitive voice, I'm just going to give you one more clue today and then sign off for today, because I think short and sweet is better. All right, so the Native American trackers were recruited by the American government during the Vietnam War to go over and root out the North Vietnamese, right, the Viet Cong, to go under those underground temples. And they were chosen because they were the best of the best, these trackers who could track anything and find it. And so, of course, the American military wanted that. So they took in the trackers, they shaved off their hair, and they sent them out to track, and they discovered that they were worse than the ordinary military. So our military went back to the chiefs, and they said, well, look, you must have sent us your worst trackers. They're not working. And the chiefs explained to them, now I want you to get this, okay? Because this has to do with where your source of intuition is, okay? The chiefs explained to our American military that the source of the intuition for their tribes was through the hair. And so when the military chopped off, okay, see how long my hair is? Okay, I didn't think about this, but I will tell you this. My intuition and my clairvoyance is getting better and better in channeling, and my hair is getting longer and longer through this pandemic. Maybe there's a connection. Well, the chiefs explained to the military that the intuition for the trackers was in the hair, and that when you shaved off their hair, they lost their intuition. So, of course, the generals said, yeah, right, we'll test it. And they did. 50% of the new trackers had their hair shaved off, and 50% of them were kept long-haired. And lo and behold, you, of course, can guess ahead of me that the ones who had long hair had fantastic statistics and rooted out the Viet Cong. The ones who did not have hair actually were at danger of losing their life. It was a very dangerous situation for them because their instincts, they had no instincts. What does our hair do? You know how your hair on your arm like stands up when something frightening happens, or you're scared out of your wits, or you're just like, you can feel it. Well, that's how they felt it, through their hair. So they no longer had divine protection. And so how do we feel our intuitive gifts? So today I want you to be really super sensitive to feeling your intuitive gifts. How do you hear it, number one? And how do you feel it in your body? Now, I explained to you my tummy, like when it's fear, my tummy, my skin, in the hair. How do you feel your intuitive gifts? So let me know down here. And tomorrow we're going to continue to dive into this subject of listening to our intuitive voice, so you too can start to receive those messages really clearly that Spirit has for you, and that you've actually instructed Spirit to send to you. So guys, I hope that this works really well for you. I know I was, my hairdresser's in Santa Fe, and now after today, I'm wondering, okay? So I love you, and have a fantastic day. I'll be back tomorrow at 9, day 26 tomorrow, more on listening to your intuitive voice. So send me your feedback, your thoughts, your miracles, your instructions, and I look through all of them, and I will see you mostly tomorrow. Don't forget to reach out to me if you want to be on my list for the class. Send an email, joan@joanofangels.com. And I love you so much. Have a blessed day.